What's up, guys?
What's up, man? What's up, peeps? How are you doing, guys?
We're doing great. We have a conference tournament. We're in the thick of it. Big shit's going down, and we need previews. We need predictions, and we need to make money. So let's get at it. Who's ready? Who's ready?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All
Adam,
right.
are you ready?
Looks like we're gonna crank it off here with this Big Ten tournament.
I'm not going to crank anything off.
Crank it up, fuckers.
All right, let me.
Who wants to go first?
Let me pull up the tournament bracket here. We can look at it together as friends do.
Very nice. Look at that.
All right.
Tiny brackets.
Just like the one.
Tiny brackets.
That's healthy. I like that, don't you?
Like this. Wow.
It's too much.
That's a
Sorry.
lot. that was a lot.
That was excessive. I'm sorry.
We've lost all 19 viewers. It happened quickly.
What's up?
Which game would you like to talk about first?
Let's start off with Minnesota, Michigan State.
Yeah, go ahead, Adam. What's your thoughts on that?
I like the upset. I'm taking Minnesota. In Minneapolis, home crowd.
Yeah, they're
probably a better team.
They're 6.5 point underdogs, but playing a home game.
Money line them.
Listen to this guy. Out of the gate.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I am also gonna go Minnesota, shockingly.
Oh my gosh, that's dirty.
I think that they are elite on the front line.
They are elite on the front line.
I do think that Michigan State's guard play will be bothered by Minnesota's length in the backcourt as well. So they're about as complete of a team as you can be for that record. I think that if they would have picked up a couple more wins, they're a Sweet 16 talent team, honestly. So I'm going to go Minnesota.
Well, so I have been the proverbial Michigan Stater, state hater. So, I think Minnesota will cover the spread and is a live dog. But I think Michigan State, to me, and this is what Tom Izzo always does, is they're going to find a way to get this win because I literally think if they lose this game, they're just barely in the tournament as an 11th seed in a playing game, maybe even at best. I can't say it that like right now I think they're a 10 seed, and Minnesota's got a good record, but they're going to look at what have you done the last 10 games, and it's going to be glaring for Michigan State. So the fact the game's at home, huge deal for Minnesota. They could win. I'd like to see actually Michigan State's streak get broken, but I think they somehow find a way to win the game, and I have them moving forward. Tom Izzo whines just enough to pull off the win.
Fantastic. All right. Let's go to
but the asterisk to that game is it doesn't matter. So.
Well, it could.
It does not matter.
I think it definitely does matter. Either way.
either way, let's. So Maryland did pick up the win today against Rutgers, and they're going to be facing off against Wisconsin. Adam, who do you got?
I got Wisconsin. It's a team that needs to bounce back. Lost a lot of games down the stretch in the season after peaking. They got to find a way to get some wins here in the Big Ten tournament, so they're a real contender. So
Nice. I'm also going to go Wisconsin. I think that they are. They're just a talented team that lost their way, but I mean, they got. If they're going to do anything in the tournament, they got to turn it around right now. Otherwise, I'd have trouble really having them get outside of the first weekend. And honestly,
first game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it gets to the point where I'm like, are we really so sure they're even a tournament team if they get walloped by Maryland?
I said that the last time I was on with you fuckers. And you laughed at me like, yeah, they're for sure in the tournament.
Well, I didn't
Are
expect
for sure in the tournament, whether you're playing like you deserve to be in the tournament or in are different things.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that they're going to be in the tournament. I just think that there are about 105 other worthy teams in America.
Right. Correct.
Evan, who do you got?
Well, I think we're all three in agreement. I do think Wisconsin wins this game against Maryland. I think they showed a real punch against Purdue, much like everyone that's played us, like when it comes, push to shove. They really got to get something going here for momentum. Maybe AJ Stores found a little something in that game. They actually ramped it up a little bit defensively. They've got a lot of weapons.
Duffel bag after he took that steal and dunked it at the end of
He also has an extra $100,000, and Courtney Green has another $75,000. That does help you. It's really honestly, we need to find the rest before you any predictions. Let's just if Courtney Green's in any of these fuckers, it's a done deal. But I like Wisconsin. I didn't actually look at the spread to go from that angle. I should pull that up my phone. I did not. But I think Wisconsin gets a win here. Maryland's been relatively disjointed. They were fortunate to play a team that's more disjointed than them in the first round. So I don't know. And and they have some talented pieces in the front court, and some they got some talented players, but they have a lot of I heard a lot of rumors about just people transferring out of there next year and just a lot of problems. So I think Wisconsin gets it done in that game, maybe even easily.
Chalk. All right. And then earlier tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking? My bad.
Me? No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I didn't say
It's something like Terrence and Phillip. I can hear you. Are you finished?
Hey, if Rutgers is joined, what is
Rutgers is disjointed? What
is Michigan?
Well, their season's over. Is what they are.
They are eating whitefish.
What?
So
Out by the beef house.
They're enjoying a post spring break on Torch Lake.
Yeah. So Penn State did beat Michigan earlier tonight, and they will be playing IU. With that information in mind, Adam, am I putting you on the spot here? I don't know. I know you clearly have not had a chance to see how that game played out. But Penn State, Indiana, who you got?
I'm taking Penn State.
Wow.
All right.
Nice. That's the first upset. Well, I guess you had Minnesota upsetting, but you would call it more of an upset.
Indiana dumpster fire. Move on.
I agree. Honestly, I have Penn State as well. I just really don't think. I think IU played their big game against Michigan State, and they're clearly reserved to the NIT, and then just getting out of there and spending their time doing other stuff besides basketball events.
He signing Mike
I think that was re-signing Mike Woodson, but it sounded like the teacher from Snoopy. So,
Who you got? Who you got, Devin?
man, this is a tough one. I was kind of doing it in the order the games were being played, so I was kind of focusing on that Ohio State, Iowa. So, man, I think I really don't like going chalky like this, so I don't. I don't know that. That's going to be intriguing. You know, I'm not so sure that Penn State's not a better team, but Indiana's been playing very well of late, and they have more talent. I think Penn State has a better coach. Man, that's really tough. I think I'm going to go Indiana here, as painful as that sounds. But Indiana has terrible. They have one of the worst records in the Big Ten history, Big Ten tournament history. But I think I'm going to have them win this game as one of their last of the season.
All right, the resident IU fan wins up again. Congratulations.
I'm such a huge fan.
Well, clearly you are.
That's going to be like a toss-up. I mean, it's going to be very close. They both, they both suck.
Move on.
All right.
Here's what it is.
We'll finish with Ohio State, Iowa. Who you got, Adam?
There we go. This will be different.
I got Ohio State. I think they're a much more talented team. I think they can make a couple runs in that game. Iowa breaks apart. They just can't score enough. Keep up. I have Ohio State. They're playing well lately.
I am going to agree again. Adam and I are actually on the same page with every single pick here. For the same reasons, I'm going to go Ohio State. I think that over the last 3 to 4 weeks, they've really they've started to realize what their season could be. And
Yeah,
to their credit, they turned it around, plain and simple. I think Iowa's headed in the opposite direction of where they were 2 to 3 weeks ago. So I'm going to go Ohio State here.
Well, another tough one. I think both teams have been playing very well over the last several weeks.
Oh, here we go again.
Huh?
You like how Iowa's been playing?
Yeah, until the last game, they won like 5 of 6 or something, 4 or 5 in a row. Pretty good. Both teams have actually, especially Iowa, actually has played themselves into bubble discussion. So the game actually is a game of elimination as far as like clearly of going into a tournament. The win certainly would be enough for either one of them to go on and get in the tournament. Iowa would be a little bit ahead of them. Like you said, Ohio State just started a little bit, they started good early, then just hit too big of a lull to where they've got a little bit too much to overcome unless they go on a big, big run. But I don't like Iowa's defense. I think they've got more scorers, and Ohio State has just played on this. They've played on this run recently where they're just on this magical ride of where they believe in their coach, their talent level is playing to that level.
They play hard.
They play really, really hard. And for that reason alone, I think I would take Ohio State in this game, but it would be very, very close. And I think the winner of either one of those games of that game would actually win their next game, believe it or not. So, but Ohio State maybe even more so, but either way, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say Ohio State, but it's close because I can't just go on chalky.
All right. Well, let's go back to the top. Purdue. Move on.
Okay. Well, hey, I mean, we're ripping through it. I mean, you're up, Adam. You've been going first.
I did. I picked Purdue.
So
your
Purdue-
analysis is Purdue.
What?
Your analysis is Purdue over Minnesota.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
That's nothing. No commentary. Just cause.
So
Cool.
I too am going to go Purdue. And I honestly think that if Minnesota does make it there against Purdue, I think that this is probably the spot where Purdue gets a scare in this whole tournament. Just because I like the way that Minnesota matches up, but no, it's Purdue in this spot.
The 11 a.m. tip-off scare.
Scared? I don't think Purdue is scared of anything. I think that they get a scare. I think it's a much closer game than a lot of people would realize. I think they got Minnesota by 6 the last time they played.
I agree.
Like 7 or 8.
You
might be right.
I'd have to look at it. But they looked as competent against Purdue as anyone in the last month and a half. So there were some moments where I think that they got up for the game. Their front line did about as well as anyone has all year against Edie, and it wasn't for any other reason other than they just gave effort on both ends. So I just like their pieces. By no means am I picking Minnesota over Purdue, but I mean, spoiler alert, if I'm going to pick Purdue to win this, but I think that of any games that they would potentially play in this tournament, that's the one that I think that has the potential of being a scare for them late. So, Devin, you actually picked Michigan State.
Yeah. So I think with the game being obviously in Minnesota's backyard, the first game, obviously I think Michigan's going to win, but I think that no matter who wins that game, it will be Purdue's most difficult game of the entire tournament unless Illinois gets it to the championship game, and then that's the only exception. So I think whoever wins that game between those two teams, which I think will be Michigan State against Minnesota, I think that will be Purdue's hardest game of the whole thing. If they were playing Minnesota, first of all, I think that playing one game, like when you have that game beforehand, you get a little bit into the flow of the game quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Probably going to be a slower start for Purdue either way, no matter who they play. So whichever one of us are right. I think they get Michigan State. Izzo's very stubborn how he wants to defend Purdue. I think he's going to really be after the refs, and I think he's going to be really on them like he normally is in these situations. He's really been kind of dominated by Matt Painter recently. He always likes the way he likes to guard the post. And Aggie will spray the ball out. I think Michigan State, when I watch them play, they just, And Minnesota's actually hasn't been playing the last like couple of games. They've kind of like hit a little bit of a wall. I think Michigan State is in a spot where it's like win or go home. If they beat Minnesota, it's probably enough for them to get in the Big Ten or get in the NCAA tournament no matter what, because that's all they need is just any win, and they're probably definitely in. But they have that tournament pedigree, but I think that Purdue, honestly, they're just on a different kind of level as far as like where they're at. So I do think it'll be the hardest game of the whole tournament for Purdue, and I think they will beat Michigan State.
All right. Surprising from a Big Ten fan. I'm sorry, an IU fan.
You're so ridiculous.
I know.
I'm the farthest thing.
Okay.
I mean, in my defense, I did say that they were going to beat Michigan State, Indiana, and they did. And it's not because I like Indiana; it's because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
and I would make a reference about knowing the future, but some people wouldn't like that, so no reason to cut that out.
Your Crimson and Cream subscriptions are paying off. Good for you. You had all the inside information. Let's see.
It's fine. No big deal.
All right, Adam. So you are up. We got you picked Wisconsin. And how do you think they'll fare against Northwestern?
I think they beat Northwestern.
Okay.
I think they go on a little tear here. They're going to match it pretty. That's going to be a trouble for them. Probably the tournament. But Northwestern's injured. They lost their guy for the year. And, I just don't see them having enough with Wisconsin needing to win this game really to prove themselves too. So I have Wisconsin winning.
This will be our first disagreement here. I think Northwestern wins, and I think they win going away. I think that Wisconsin is just I don't even know what to think of them other than they are IU North to me.
Oh, wow.
It's just ready to be done with the season for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know.
Then you blame coaching, right?
What?
You blame coaching at that point?
It hasn't mattered for the last month and a half. I don't know why it would start now, especially after I think that they win pretty easily against Maryland. They kind of get ahead of themselves and probably just double down on some terrible habits they've had for a while. And I think Northwestern is the kind of team that will turn you over. They'll dictate pace, and they're just gonna. I think Northwestern wins going away. Devin, you have also selected Wisconsin to meet Northwestern here. Who do you got?
I do. I think it's the two dirtiest teams in the Big Ten. Let's just open with that. They're both play just a very physical style of game. That part's fine. They like to play that 40-year-old YMCA old man knees and elbows game. Both of them, they thrive in that environment. I think
time for you to go to the Y. I think.
No, I played that way when I was younger. So when I was a little, I couldn't. I'm not good enough to play that way now. Unfortunately, I'm good enough. Just too fat. Anyways, I think Northwestern. It's almost like they do all the things Wisconsin does, but better. It's honestly like I feel like Northwestern plays like how Wisconsin used to play.
Exactly.
I mean, to be honest with you, so I think Northwestern. This will be the end of the line for Wisconsin. They make it that far, which I think they will. But I do think they're certainly the loss of like Ty Berry for the season is definitely felt. Definitely hurts their ceiling. They both have really good like players all the way around at all the spots. But for me, you have the Boo Booey factor. He's like, I don't know, 29 years old. He's literally like 24, but like he's old AF, and he's a very good point guard. I mean, extremely good point guard, and he facilitates for other people. And if he has to get it going, he gets it going. And I just think that Northwestern they don't turn the ball over either. And not that Wisconsin does a whole lot, but Northwestern just doesn't beat themselves. And I think I see it as two teams playing. I mean, I think just Wisconsin just does. I think Northwestern just does what Wisconsin used to do, but better. Still, even with the loss of Berry, with Berry, I think they beat Wisconsin by a lot. But I think they go ahead and you get your rematch with Purdue, 3 of 3 here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have been wanting to see that anyway, so I think they'll be happy.
So final answer, Northwestern. Got it.
That was my first answer. That was every answer.
No, that's good. Your first answer was IU, as evidenced by the ticker.
It wasn't, man.
Yeah, it was. You love IU.
Because I picked them to win one time. Oh my god! No one said this crap. Am I gonna have to say some things that just get you to delete this whole thing just because of that? Not underneath there. Because I'm capable. I can totally shut this down.
Let's recap. So
I'm going to take Ohio State over Illinois here.
Oh, I like it.
By the way.
Okay. All right.
Ohio State, little Cinderella team, little Big Ten Cinderella. I don't think that's as far as I have them going yet, but we'll have to wait and see.
Ooh, suspicion is killing me. Might be suspense. Had a lot of beers.
The suspense is not killing me. You're gonna pick IU, so I'm gonna have to take Illinois here. I think they're probably gonna be a bit ill-tempered, and
ill-tempered.
I think that they're motivated to try to win this thing. I think that they'll probably shoot their wad here in this game, and I'm gonna go Illinois here, pretty big actually.
Wow. Okay, Devin.
You can't pick IU, just so you know this game.
God, dude.
Not on the table. Be patient.
One time I tell you weeks in advance that IU is going to win the game. You don't believe me. They totally show you up in your shitty Michigan State Spartans like I promised would happen. And all of a sudden I'm an IU fan. I mean, come on, dude.
I don't know. It must have been a tough game for you to pick because you also picked Michigan State earlier. It's fine.
Maybe I watched the games.
You're fucking Santa Claus. You bleed red and green.
Funny as hell. I think this is probably the end of the line for Ohio State as well. I think Illinois just. I think they have a lot of the game. I think the game will be close though. I mean, and it'll be interesting. I do not like going this chalky.
I think Illinois falters under pressure when Ohio State gives it to them with 4 minutes left.
I mean, maybe, but Illinois just has better players. I think the game might end up being close, but I don't know. Like if Illinois wins it, if they win it, I think they win the game. Like the way Josh says, by like a lot. If Ohio State wins, I think it's going to come down and like they'll just make enough plays in the last 2 minutes to win the game. But I think Illinois wins this game.
Intriguing, though. I think it would be fun to watch Ohio State go on that run. I just don't know. I think that Illinois can suck it, but
I totally agree with that.
I think that they come here to wreck shop. All right, so then we hop down to Adam. You have picked Penn State and Nebraska. Who do you got?
I got Nebraska. I think they walk away really easy with this game, honestly.
Fucking corn. What did you want me to look up?
I like corn.
You do like corn.
I like corn.
Yeah.
You didn't like the Iowa Hawkeyes. They got a lot of corn.
I think they shoot the three balls superbly against Penn State. I think they get a lot of open opportunities, and they take it. Honestly, I think it's an easy win. Walking away. So, which leaves a matchup with Ohio State, not fucking Illinois. Just so we're all clear.
I too am going to go Nebraska here. That's all you need to know. It's not going to be that close.
No,
I think no matter who Nebraska plays in this game, which I do think will be Indiana, I think they will beat Indiana badly. Nebraska definitely still trying to improve their seed. I think Nebraska has the most favorable path in the entire tournament, to be very honest with you. They almost get a walk.
Yeah.
And if what happens Adam says what happens with Ohio State, which is possible, quite possible, then by then Ohio State would have played a couple games. I think Nebraska would win that for sure. So there's a 50-50 chance that Nebraska walks to the championship game. Well, we'll go back to that later, but I think Nebraska wins this game. They can just hit too many threes. They're good enough inside. Better coach. Lots of factors. Both have hideous colors. Gross.
All right, let's go back up to the top here, Adam. I think I know the answer, but we got Purdue and you got Purdue and you have Northwestern. Is that correct?
no, I picked Wisconsin, sir. I believe.
I tried to help you out. Okay.
You have Purdue and Wisconsin.
Purdue, Wisconsin. Yes.
Part 3.
Yes. I have the Badgers losing by 35.
Okay.
That might be the smartest thing you said so far in this podcast.
They're going to need help getting there, but that's how that game would turn out.
Purdue by 35.
Yeah. I wish I could give that prediction.
Courtney Green's not roughing that one.
I'm gonna go Purdue here against Northwestern. I just think that, like I said, I think that once Purdue gets past that, their first game, I think that they start to roll here and they kind of start seeing another check on their goal list here within reach. So I think they make a statement in the second half in this game if this game is played. Devin, who do you got?
I think Purdue would actually beat Northwestern soundly in the third matchup. Both other games were overtime games. They both had Tiberi in both those games. I think, like once again, you said, I think if Purdue wins their first game, once again, their hardest game, in my opinion, they would really handle Northwestern, because without that third guard, that's just one less three-pointer shooter they don't have to close out on. And I see Boo Buie when I watch them play since the loss. They've had people like fill in, like Lamborg, Barnheiser, and they've got good, they've got bodies to throw at you, and they're going to try and ugly it up, but it's having that extra 3-point shooter and driver and guard that can handle the ball, and it can take you very, very far. And clearly, when they had him, they were very competitive with Purdue when they were hitting and whatever else. But that one extra player just makes of that caliber makes all the difference in the world when you're winning against elite teams. And they do not have the goods to beat Purdue without Ty Berry. And I don't think that 35-point action is happening, but I would not be surprised if Purdue lays the lumber and puts that knee down. And I would not be surprised if they beat Northwestern by 15 or 20 points, honestly. Because I think if it gets away from them a little bit, all the things they wanted to keep in the game, none of them are going to go the way they want. It'd be statement time. So I think Purdue wins. Purdue wins that game no matter who they play, but if they play Northwestern, they'll definitely beat them.
All right. All right, Adam, you have Ohio State, the Cinderella of this shit show, advancing here.
Against the Cornhuskers.
Yeah. So Ohio State, Nebraska, what do you got?
Again, I'm going to Ohio State.
Oh my God. You are dirty.
You are
Fucking
dirty.
Bet your units wisely.
Better not edit this shit.
They're playing hard. They're playing strong. They're confident. They're just gaining momentum. It's like a snowball going downhill. They're going to face Purdue in the championship.
Oh, you're amongst the pettiest of the fuckers. You just want that revenge game. That's all you want.
I do. I
Yeah.
would like.
Well, I think it's going to be a different revenge game. I think that the loss to Nebraska will be avenged because they're not going to shoot 96% from three this day. But I do have Nebraska moving on here. And I think
against the Fighting Illini.
Yeah. No, I already told you Purdue's winning this, and they're going to take care of business against Nebraska in the final. So you can skip me next round. But I think that Illinois, like I said, I think Illinois, they come out really in their first game. I really think that they put on a dominant performance, and I think that they get ahead of themselves and their dick shrinks mightily against Nebraska. So I got Nebraska here.
Yeah, I have Nebraska beating the Fighting Illini. Illinois did not have to play Nebraska this year. When Nebraska went to Illinois, it took some Bush League calls. They ended up coming back and getting 2 overtime in a game where Illinois should have put the game out and couldn't do it. And Nebraska just kind of does that to you. Certainly in a situation where like the way that Illinois played in that game or just in general, they kind of hung around, thought the game was over. Nebraska just kept on punching, and didn't have the wherewithal to win the game. Some 4 breaks, but so I think Nebraska wins it this time around, which obviously brings us to a Purdue-Nebraska final for me, a Purdue-Ohio State final for Adam, and a Purdue-Nebraska final for you. So, Adam, I guess you're up.
Purdue.
Yeah?
Not an easy game. I think they have to pull away late. I think they prove that they're the championship team that can in the championship moment. And hopefully they rolls a lot of momentum into March, the real tournament. Not this shit show, as it was called. So, but I got Purdue winning. Back-to-back Big Ten titles. Only 2 Big Ten teams have ever done it in history, from what I found out.
Nice.
So,
what's the other team?
Ohio State, I believe, did it. And I couldn't tell you the other one. Michigan State, I believe, is the other team. I think those 2 teams have done that.
feel like Ohio State might have done that 2005-6 deal with Kraft and Conley.
Mm-hmm.
And then
No, Purdue becomes a third team to do so, but it's hardly the mission we're looking for. So,
yeah, just another step. All right, Josh. You said skip you, but you know.
No, I got Purdue over Nebraska. Like I said, I think that Nebraska shot out of their mind, not only percentage and quantity of shots from distance. I think that they were timely shots and they stopped Purdue runs. I just don't think that you catch lightning in a bottle like that again. I think there was a lot to that as far as, I don't want to call it luck, but we'll just say they made a lot of very timely shots at home against Purdue. I don't think that Purdue played poorly necessarily that game. And I think this is the game where, it's not going to be an easy game by any means. I think that they're going to be aware. They're going to be running people off the 3-point line. And I think they're going to try to dictate pace. But I think that they're going to do what they've done all year. And I think the most impressive thing Purdue has done, they've had a spike game here or there. Rutgers comes to mind, just like, incredible performances. But to me, what makes Purdue so impressive is their ability to just stay within their game plan going into the game, regardless of, how it shakes out in the opening minutes. And I think that if you give Purdue a second shot at a team that's given them their best shot, it doesn't end well. I don't think this is going to be, a blowout by any means. It's a long weekend to get to this point, and fatigue comes into play. I would be interested to see what the rotation looks like.
Purdue's so deep.
They are so deep, and I think that it might be a spot where he goes. It might be a spot where he goes a little longer with minutes for Cam Heide, or he, Caleb First gets a couple more, minutes, or
He gave Colvin 6 minutes in the first half the other night. So
yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's too late to go with that, but I mean you'll see in the first couple games of this tournament what it's trending towards. But I think that it's a good spot to really bring energy off the bench and get everybody ready for the tournament that may see the floor. And I think that that's going to be a galvanizing thing if that's how it's approached, because if you have everybody, through the end of the bench engaged to the maximum, it's gonna be that much more important. And I think that this coaching staff has the foresight to look at those things. If they don't, they should call me and I'll let them know. But I just don't see a scenario if this final in this tournament happened, Purdue Nebraska. I don't see a scenario where Nebraska can pull out that win. So I'm going to go Purdue.
All right. Well, you guys both think if they got there that Purdue would win the game close. It would be a close game.
I don't know. I would say, probably a 3-possession game minimum.
All right.
It's not going to be that close.
Well, I think that if Purdue were to play Nebraska, clearly what I think is going to happen, that Purdue, in the spot they'd be in, with just the way they're showing, because it was the worst they've played all year in that game. And I think just the way Purdue is wired, certainly this particular year, and the fact that it's winning time, CBS leads into Selection Sunday. Nebraska has been playing pretty well, but I think the energy it would take for them to beat Illinois, I think they would have to spend a lot of that energy trying to beat Illinois. And Purdue would have been coming off, I think, once again, I think their hardest game would be the first game. But even, I think the second game for Purdue, honestly, would be easier. So going into it, I think they would expend less energy than what it will take for Nebraska to beat Illinois. And I think that if you take this right here and you add Ing, that's what they're going to do to Nebraska if they play in the championship game. Fist Ing. They're going to win. They'd win that game by 10, 12 to 15 points if they play Nebraska in a rematch. Because I think you can get Nebraska in a situation where they start to fall in love with those threes with some of the people that don't make them. And if, Casey Tamaninga does not make some of those threes, Purdue's going to bust them big time. And they did not play well the first game. And obviously it's a road game, and Nebraska is a very hard place to play. And I just think that this is winning time. And for Purdue, I think they win that game by at least 8 points. And I feel like closer to the 10 to 15 margin. Because I think they're going to want to put margin on people to, hey, show like where they're capable of doing. Plus, they're already in March mode if you listen to these interviews. So I think Purdue wins this tournament, certainly if they play Nebraska. If they play Illinois, might be a little more interesting. But I think their hardest game will be the first game of the tournament. That team will have a game under their belt already. Minnesota's the home team. So they're going to have all that support there too. And they're very, very good. But I think Michigan State's going to be highly motivated. And it's just they got dudes that can play. So I think the first game, Purdue will play the most talented people that play of the whole tournament. Like, no matter who it is. Like, they'll play the most. I mean, Illinois, I guess, if they made it that far. But outside of that, they will play the two most talented teams in that first game. The winner of that game will have the goods to beat you.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go looking through and see all the people behind them. Like, if you be like, oh, Purdue plays Ohio State again, they're going to win. You play Iowa again, you're going to win. You played Indiana again, they're going to win. Penn State, any of those other teams, Maryland, if any of those were the teams that were going to be matched up to play Purdue, everybody knows for sure Purdue win those games easily. And the Minnesota factor with them being good and them being home, I think the first game is by far the trickiest because they'll have a game under their belt.
I agree.
So that's my own opinion, especially if they play Nebraska, because they got something coming from Nebraska if it comes to that.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska.
And if it's Ohio State, like Adam thinks or whatever, then.
I think Ohio State is a tougher game for Purdue in that spot.
But they would be out of gas by then.
I mean,
4 days and 4 games in 4 days.
They would for sure be out of gas with what they do.
They're not
with waves that Purdue would give them. Like, it just wouldn't be fair by the second half.
They literally won a game at home with the coaching change and all the momentum. Like, if Purdue plays that game now, we still beat them, and Ohio State's been playing great. It's just now the coaching team settled in, but it was just that game. We played Ohio State a week and a half early. We won that game. We play them now. We win that game. It's just the day we played them. Josh and I both knew Purdue was going to be in for a long game. We hope they could win, but we were like, this could be an upset. Especially this is the kind of thing as if I take all bias, all things being equal, I would have bet money line for Ohio State knowing the situation. If it wasn't Purdue, I would do that every single time in that spot. So, but yeah, I think so. We all think Purdue's going to win the Big Ten tournament. I don't think it'll be easy, and I would not be surprised if it doesn't happen, because if this thing goes way sideways, I mean, who knows? But I do know this, that if you don't win, like no one's ever won this tournament if they haven't won the first game of the conference tournament ever. I'm pretty sure that's the thing. So Purdue needs to win the first game. It sucks that it's going to be such a hard battle, but they need to win that game because you don't want to lose that game. And people are like, well, we should just not play that hard and make sure we're healthy and all that shit. Well, Golden Black Brian already said that both EB and Smith are fine as far as their ankles, so they're good. They're good to go.
Edie has one mentality right now, and that's to dominate people.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. They go as he goes, and if they hit threes, they're unbeatable. So that's it.
They have the second best percentage 3-point shooting in the country next to Kentucky now.
I get it.
So I think they'll be all right. Plenty of guys that can do it.
Plenty.
Hell, even first hit a 3-pointer. I was a huge 3-pointer in that game. Huge. At the time. All right. Well, what's next on the docket, my friend?